Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to another From the Perspective of Race for the Community Club. My name's Vitasia. I'm joined today on the mic by Warlink as we're about to go through our wonderful Porom seed. So, Final Fantasy IV from the perspective of Porom. How are we doing tonight, Warlink?
I am so happy to commentate over this race to look at everyone's favorite, most people's favorite white mage and the big brother, the big sibling of the two twins, going through to go through the objectives that are related to the vanilla FF4 game. So I'm kind of excited for this.
Yep, this is not necessarily what I would call a complex flag set, and by any stretch of the imagination. It is, our objectives, and we don't have to kill Zeromus, so it tends to be a little bit faster. Our only objective that requires a key item is going to be liberate Baron Castle, and then it's a character hunt. I apologize for that. Yeah, it's a character hunt where the party is limited. The only person that we can get that isn't on the list is Young.
Yeah, and with if we get a starting Baron Key, we potentially could be in go mode because there's a care check up in Hobbs and the end, and possibly the third remaining one would be in Baron Castle. So if we get lucky, Baron Key is the only key item that we need for this race. But if one of the characters decides to play a little bit high and go seek, we might be here a little bit longer instead of like a 30 minutes jet seed.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we found out while running this week's async race with Porom as our hero, we all were promised that this was going to be a jet seed. It did not quite turn out that way, all things said, because come to find out, when you have Porom as a starting hero and have this kind of limited power set with the party early on, getting your party rolling early can be very difficult. And there's a Golbez just hanging out and a hook start.
So we have a character check open up right away in the hook route, but it's one of those things of, do you want to go down and see if one of the three characters start down there, or just tackle the rest of the overworld and just hopefully you can get through this with the other starting character as with DKC. He's useful for the start up till he gets to become a paladin, so it's not a bad start as a second character for this seed.
Worth noting out that for the objective in Get Cecil, the starting character that is your buddy does not count. So we have to find a duplicate Cecil somewhere out into the world. And we see both of our runners starting off doing some looting here in Damsian Basement. What we found when we ran the async here is you gotta find something to kind of get yourself powered up a little bit. There's a heroin robe, that'll do it.
Yeah, with this flags we have T standard, S wild. So treasure is not it's kind of on the low side, but if you find all the extra weapons and gears for characters who are not appearing in the seed, that's enough money to help kickstart your fun of getting all your J items, your Stardust, your Gaiatrons, to help Porom and DKC to get through some of the early battles, just to get a little bit levels on them. So not a bad start to start looting it out now and hopefully find the particular store that has those JMs.
Well, and you make a good point. That heroin robe is a very nice find early on and is worth a bit of money. Do you immediately try to sell that and get some of those J items you were talking about, or do you throw that heroin robe on Porom and let her hit things? Even with the silent staff that we got, can do quite a bit of damage right out of the gate if you really want her to.
Yeah, if you're able to find a power staff or a bow and arrow, it's one of those things of, yeah, I'll keep the heroin robe around for like a few boss fights just to get through, just to power up everyone up, and possibly if maybe leave it on her, or probably halfway through if you're struggling with healing, you can switch it off. And on Ribbon's side, we have Porom's twin Porom with Mylan and friends. So there's one objective done for Ribbon on her side.
And that Palom is going to come in handy because if he can survive this, he'll get enough experience to immediately have access to those level 2 spells, really getting Palom to be activated. We saw a Black Robe as well. That's going to do wonders in terms of also upping his power levels. But look, we have another Palom that's just kind of right over here. So duplicate Paloms here with a Mom Bomb. That's a very, very punchy Mom Bomb. If we have to go into the underground and this is our required way, that's going to be dangerous for a mage-heavy party that we're going to have.
Yeah, if you're getting all 5 characters, if we haven't tell you what the characters are available. So through Porom's adventure through the Final Fantasy IV, there are GRC, her brother Palom, Cecil, Tella, and Yang. So, like you said, like 3 mages, a punch mage, and a paladin. So it's kind of one of those. It's that Mom Bomb might be a little bit dangerous, but if you get Paladin and Cecil have enough gear to like take enough hits to do cover stress with that, it's not a bad thing to say that, but it might be a slog if this becomes a hook seed.
When in doubt, always know Porom seeds will be horrible. I am now convinced of this.
And on Ribbon's side, we get Mylan saying, "Oh my body," and just disappear from the battle. And looks like Palom got all of his level 2 elemental spells. So basically, the twins are basically online to tackle on the rest of the overworld checks if needed.
I like that Leonhard is still full clearing out. There's some good stuff that he's been picking up in this particular area. Both runners have their objective done. Ribbon has the levels on Palom. I think Commander Leonhard has a little bit better gear right now, but that's really not a huge jump here. So both these runners running neck and neck. I imagine they'll check over each other's spots. In fact, Ribbon appears to be doing exactly what Leonhard just did a second ago. And one of the nice things I think about this particular flag set, and we saw it earlier with Leonhard doing some of his looting earlier and selling a change rod and a dragon whip, is that because your party is so known, anything that isn't immediately equipable, you can kind of sell. Those ninja swords that we saw earlier, hey, they're gone. We'll be finding some Artemis arrows, which certainly will be put to use here almost directly.
Yeah, Artemis arrows with bow and arrow. Let Porom hit things. What most people would say about her. And also, there's some looks like there are some coffins in the Albion Cave. So, if you find one of the free fights like Dark Imps or in the Guards, it's easy. Oh, and Crystal Swords down there. That's a little bit too rich for my blood. Just if this is just a win game instead of win crystal.
Well, let's think of it this way. If you clear everything else on the overworld, you have a Paladin Cecil, you're probably, most runners are going to be around level 20 to 25 or so. There's our second Cecil sitting there in the bed. So a Sand Ruby will get us our Cecil objective. I don't know. Okay, there's a defense sword. Yeah, that'll do. Never mind. I'm not going to spend the money on the crystal sword if I have the defense sword right there. It's just, it's great, but not twice the money great.
Yeah, and there's a few bosses that are like extremely weak against the crystal sword or the X-Cal, but a defense sword, it's like the best sword for the price point for not to have to sell the whole farm to get to the price point to buy it. So defense sword is one of those things you keep in the back pocket. If you have enough money and you're in the area, it doesn't hurt to go over and pick it up.
Oh, Cat Claw, Medusa, Unihorn. Worth noting, runners doing all of these looting right now. We've gotten some pretty decent J items. I've seen a couple Boreas, a couple Gaia drums. Ribbon, in the meanwhile, is not looting out the cave. So a lot of goodies that Leonhardt's going to have that Ribbon Quest will not have access to.
Yeah, with only one trap chest in this whole cave area, it's worth it just if you're diving to do the character check. Why not just hit up the whole hit up the chest up to a certain point and just get enough items for enough to get through some of the bosses, or to help kickstart your fun for buying anything from these SYL shops.
Leonhardt also picked up a very key J item there, an hourglass that was sitting stranded in one of the treasure chests in the Antlion Cave. That is kind of significant. An hourglass can make a free boss, relatively difficult boss, depending on where it hits, free, if it's susceptible to that stop. Also, one of the things that I've used it for, especially on this particular flag set, when you're in need of levels, going over there into Castle Ebland, opening up a treasure chest and using that hourglass to make a fight there free and get a Palom online. That can be very beneficial there as well, if you don't necessarily want to burn a Siren as well. So a great pickup there on Leonhardt's side.
Commander side also with Ribbon, when she's right up on Commander's tail, we have just a couple of orbs to deal with the CPU point on wall, but kind of be a little bit scary with these mages. But with one Gaia drum and a Hero Artemis Arrows Porom, this isn't a hard boss to get through.
No, and even though they appear to be floating, they absolutely are not, and so are susceptible there to that Gaia drum that Leonhardt just used as well. So great use of that particular J item. Hey, remember ZZ1?
I wasn't around, but I heard tales of starting Crystal Pass and Antlion Go.
Yeah, there's our crystal. We don't need it. It's okay.
It's a key item, but since it's one game, and unless the only key flags this tournament is K main no free, so the only checks we're going to do is on the blue planet, and the only reason to do levels is just in case like Demas is hiding somewhere up in the moon or somehow up in the giant and gated, and it's kind of a little bit hard to get through it because Demas is kind of a little bit annoying, but have to get through. If it's up in CPU, have to go through elements. It's one of those things of fine is a 10 key item. It's just going to sit in the inventory.
Curious that Leonhardt is taking this fight. I think he's taking this just for the levels at this point in time, trying to get his Palom activated at this point in time, just because otherwise his Palom only knows that one Ice 2 spell. So quickly going to grab some levels, but not worth a duplicate Palom there. We don't get duplicates, unfortunately.
Yeah, only one set of twins. The twins don't multiply to become triplets or quadruplets. So, and try to explain in the story and try to explain it in story detail, it's something you don't want to talk about.
All right, so Ribbon appears to be on her way over. Hey, I like to see some Bacchus wines normally when we have a Cecil that's online. So going to get ready there, but otherwise we're a little bit of a route divergence here. Leonhardt going to Mount Ordeals, which I think is a pretty good play once you have some level 2 spells on Palom, and at least access to a decent sword where you know Cecil will be all right. Remember, this is a hero flag set, though, so Porom will have to do the final boss on her own once she's up there. Leonhardt is well equipped to be able to do that. I think has those arty arrows and the heroine robe. Ribbon does not yet, so obviously Ribbon is doing some other things before opting to do Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, Commander is basically saying, I'm strong enough to get through Ordeals with level 2 spells on Porom and Palom, and Porom with a Archer set. I can get through this. While Ribbon's over there is probably thinking, let me just do the classic vanilla or just to power up my Palom and Porom up just a bit, just to get through the Ordeals. There are sometimes that you could go up to Ordeals. Hopefully, nothing bad shows up with there. And there's sometimes maybe a Wyvern in back attack, and you just basically think, well, great.
All right, so we have a package. That's a character check at very least. We still need our second Tella. We still need Tella, our second Cecil and Tella as well. So worth a check there. Leonhardt, meanwhile, is fighting another kind of multiple boss in Dr. Luge and Balnob that split up over 2 different fights. It's interesting because we saw in other races, with the lack of the early power that we normally have here, you tend to have to rely on J items, but when you break up a boss like you do Dr. Luge, it means you have to have more resources to get through those bosses, which makes this a little bit more difficult than if, say, a Kenyatso or something else were to show up here.
Yeah, and basically with T standard, we don't get some of the high power J items relatively, but it's one of those things of, do I want to burn 2 J items or just slog through it just to save at least 1? And on Ribbon's side, we saw Palom and Baron and with a Vivalis sitting there. So that's one of those, we don't need the Palom, but a key item check, but get through that valve quickly. Get that crowd quickly. It's one of those things of and also it will not gate progression. So we know for sure the magnet key could be there, but that's not our logic progression underground.
That's okay. There's a duplicate Palom again in for the package, so no need to go there. Yeah, Val at that Baron spot. Yeah, that's rude. I'm getting kind of flashbacks here. Karma, you rolled this. Congratulations on rolling. That is a relatively high magic spot, so we can't magic our way through it. We can, though, turn the battle speed all the way down and maybe get 1 J item off to get through that. Otherwise, we're going to need our Cecil online to be able to have any hope of getting through it. Leonhardt, meanwhile...
Hey, Karma, I thought you have places to go, so why this all gauntlet at Crystal Room?
This is a mean old gauntlet. Oh my goodness, when we have almost no J items.
Yeah, you need... There's one fight with just 1 Lilith, 1 fight with a Lilith and 2 skeletons, and 1 fight of 2 Liliths, and I don't remember the last one. So it's it's fun to watch, but as a runner, it makes you feel, oh, do I really want a Paladin Cecil?
We were joking before the race in the race room and behind the scenes in the comms, in that those of you who ran the async race earlier this week, it closed just before this race came through. We were promised, really easy objectives, so clearly it's going to be a jet seed. And that just was not the case for the async. And guess what? It's just not the case for this one either. This is a very rude, very unfortunate setup of bosses right now, and it's just going to be a bit of a slog right now. So kick back, go refresh your beverage, as both of our runners are on Mount Ordeals, which appears to be at least the intended route right now.
Yeah, and we haven't sold the Baron Key, and basically the only character checks we haven't done or basically on the table is 2 on Sub via the Earth Crystal, 1 in the Baron Key, and 1 underground in Dwarf Castle, and 1 in the Giant, and 1 in the Lunar Dais. So basically, we're at the point of, okay, where is this Tele hiding? And if we're lucky, the Sand Ruby to get our second Cecil to complete the objective.
Well, we saw at least where one Cecil was in that Sand Ruby location, which, again, who knows where that's going to end up being.
Yeah, it could be, I don't know, try to figure out. I believe we exhausted all of our checks because there's nothing else, well, except for that Val at the very end. So basically, do you want to sit through Val for a potential key item that may or may not be useful, or just bite the bullet and dive down that hook route, in which I believe both runners knows Bomb is at the Ruby spot.
I think we at least got to get Cecil online, and we do. I think, if Leonhardt remembers, I would love to get that defense sword on him. But otherwise, equip the best gear you can. And then Mom does only do physical damage, so if you can really get him to at least some decent armor and back row, he can cover for the rest of the party, which would be fantastic. And a nice cheesy way to get through that particular spot.
That also, Porom should be learning Blink by the time you get down there. So basically, on top of that, if you're a little bit worried about Cecil taking more hits, you can put a Blink on Cecil for just to take 2 dodges from Bomb's attacks.
All right, so Leonhardt is going to come in and going to be rewarded with the good news that, hey, Val is here as well, on top of everything else that you've just had to deal with. So, good luck. Oh, he's getting, honestly, that GP pool. Oh, wait, no, it was 2 million for the crystal sword, not 200,000, right?
I don't. No, I think it's 2 million, something like that. I try to figure out what the comparison of 2 numbers is kind of big, or could be 200,000.
200,000. Okay, yeah. At that point, he's got it. You run, you go, you make a beeline, you go right for that crystal sword, and that's exactly what Leonhardt's doing.
He is basically going down there and saying, I'm here to go burn and shoot bubblegum, and he's all out of bubblegum. And with that, as a level 1 paladin, and Doesn't matter. I have a crystal sword. Let's go.
Worth noting that he did opt to sell a lot of his Cure 2s, so hope he wasn't reliant on those particular items yet. But otherwise he's got a black mage, a white mage, and a crystal sword Cecil. Everything else is going to come pretty easily at this point.
Yeah, we started out with the Messia kit, which contains, I think, 70 Cure 2s in either one. So you don't need all 70 unless you just leave Porom as a designated. She's going to attack alone. So I will for commander. If I'm in the commander issues, I'm not scared anymore. I have a paladin with the crystal sword. Feel my wrath.
Yeah, all that consternation earlier about, oh, will I be able to hit the Val? That's out the window now. We're not worried about that at all. Meanwhile, Ribbon slowly working her way, got the Silent Staff equipped and is zerked up, so doing her best to get through, and oh my.
Looks like Commander's self-circling Porom and basically manually swing with Cecil. I believe it's have enough attack and actors in the queue to not to get assurance to fire off a Cure 2 or Cure 4. So this is doable, but then again, you're self-circling Porom, and lo and behold, Cecil is down. So basically, your paladins have to be the backup white mage until Destroyer is down, which, boom, it's easy peasy.
Does go down. I wouldn't call it easy. I certainly was sweating. Lukaki there. That is all of our above ground objectives at this point. So it is an intended hook route. Let's go ahead and start going down. Not necessarily easy with a 3-person party. Doable. Certainly I'm worried a little bit about levels. We have a Siren if we want it. Otherwise, I might be looking at those Evelyn chests for levels. I know, you're not necessarily happy to have to grind on those, but even Crystal Sword Cecil probably needs something a little more than to be level 5.
Yeah, and I think Commander has an hourglass in the back pocket, so if he goes down to Evelyn Castle and something goes a little bit haywire, he can pop that hourglass just to get everything stabilized. So the play right now is probably go down Castle Evelyn just to get a little bit more at levels on Cecil.
Meanwhile, Ribbon now through that Ordeals. Commander Leonhardt making kind of some smart checks, double checking to make sure that the Mist Dragon is not located in a cheeky one-off location. I believe we've already seen Ribbon make these checks earlier.
Yeah, it was D-Imps at Mist Cave and Wyvern and taking a nice shower in the waterfall. So basically, we won't see Wyvern probably gaining any progression for this seed.
All right. Otherwise, it appears as though. Let's see. Where are you going? Oh,
Commander's Oh, he's probably defendable for us because that's probably his last check before go underground. There's one other thing that could happen. Ribbon did pick the package character, but not the boss. So there might be a possibility that Demas is that behind package, who might have the magnet key.
I don't know the math off the top of my head, but that seems to be such a statistical improbability that we wouldn't risk a race on it.
Yeah, but the memes.
I mean, yes, the memes. I get the memes. One in 34, one in 37. Okay. Enough of a small percentage that, you know, thank you. I'm not going to the blackjack tables today.
Yeah, and also we have no boss objectives, and the only boss we worry about is Demas. So basically, Package Shack it's a duplicate character. We're not probably follow that chain down unless you feel like, hey, let's go a little bit silly today and see what's behind here, and probably Galaxy Brain, everyone who's racing here and being Demas right there, but statistically, yeah, you're going down the hook route for underground access.
Yep, that's what it appears at this point in time. Leonhardt just picking up that package. Looks like he's also going to at least check it, which, again, smart play when you have still 2 character checks that you're waiting on. We know that it's not there. The idea of doing the hook route with only 3 characters is still not a fun one to have to go do, regardless. And all of our other character checks so far have just resulted in Palams. Palams as far as the eye can see. So this truly is Porom's nightmare.
Yeah, and it looks like Commander is seeing through that package. So with that low statistic of DMS behind that package, he's probably gambling. It's like, hey, let's find out and don't have to worry about layerless seed.
All right, Ribbon's through the Asura fight at this point, and we'll see what Ribbon ends up doing. We already saw Ribbon at least peek the character check, not committing the time that Commander Leonhardt is doing right now in terms of peeking the boss that's up there. At this point in time, it's time to go into the underworld.
Yeah, on top of that, I think it looks like Ribbon Cecil is just wielding a bow and arrow, so it looks like she might dip into. Yeah, looks like she's dipping into Castle Evelyn, hopefully to spike a sword for Cecil to wield to get through it. But yeah, for her, she's thinking this is a hook route. Let's just get levels on Cecil and attempt this.
Oh, it looks like Ribbon also has coffins. I did not see where that was from. And it's just a dark elf on Commander Leonhardt's side, so resetting out of that.
Yeah, there were coffins for sale in Cave of Evelyn, so if you find mag ogres in here, you can safely dispose them with that and pop a life glitch if needed.
And Leonhardt is confident, even with the low levels that Cecil has, says, hey, let's do this, and is Leroy Jenkinsing right into the underworld. Again, his Cecil's pretty low, but still has a crystal sword, so certainly capable of getting through here.
Like I said earlier, Porom should have Blink by now. If needed, just have Porom cast Blink on Cecil, and he can get through, hopefully, whatever's in the King Queen spot.
Meanwhile, Ribbon does find the Mad Ogre chest, finds an assassin dagger. Does look like Leonhardt is looting through Upper Babel Tower at this point in time. So there is one trap chest with 4 Mad Ogres in here. Great experience that comes from that. And remember, he's still holding on to that 1 hourglass, which, hey, certainly would come in handy here.
Yeah, pop it, endure 4 punches, and then just get Cecil swinging, and whenever Mad Ogre goes down, throw a life glitch just for some added XP for the party.
Looks like the Mad Ogre chest is going to be the very last one just before the boss. We do know, again, Mom Bomb is that boss that we're getting ready to go for. But there is that one intermediate boss, which could be anything.
And we already saw all 3 bosses that can't get underground access. We already saw Val, we already saw Wyvern, and we saw Gomez hanging out in the biting spot in Baron Castle. So basically, anything goes in the King Queen spot.
Question in chat: can the King Queen boss be Dark Knight Cecil? Yes, absolutely. In fact, that's a classic meme in the community. I think that's traditionally been one of the worst spots that can have. Meanwhile, Leonhardt, with the small party, is letting Porom zerk up and letting the other 2 party members use a life glitch to get some extra lives going here. A very effective use of the small party. One of the nice bonuses you get.
Yeah, the best thing about life glitch is basically when you cast life 1 or life potion on a character or enemy, it's basically set the character or enemy to their vitality times 5, and for enemies they're at 0 vitality. So basically, if you try to res a enemy that's already been defeated, the game thinks, oh, this enemy has already been defeated. You get reconsider that character defeated. So basically, it gets 2 of the same enemy for the price for 1. So it's one of those things that helps gain some extra XP just in case something. Just in case you need to speed up your level growth just a bit. And it looks like on Ribbon's side, the Lamia charmed both Cecil and Porom, and she's did a great job of throwing that hourglass off just to get everyone back up, get things stabilized, and just take out the last one, this Lamia, and hopefully get rewarded with something useful.
Worth noting, Leonhardt decided to go back to the save point, and is doing another mini grind. Was not necessarily happy, got Virus, did not get Quake for our Quake kid though, so not completely happy with the levels that he was given. Trying to do an extra grind, and of course got, I didn't know if it was, I don't think that's the Siren fight, 3 Mad Ogres that you would get normally here, but kind of a rough fight, especially with the back attack.
Yeah, back attack here is just one of those. Ooh, and there's a Stardust rods for sale over at Mysidia, so looks like Ribbon is probably sell enough gear stuff to probably afford one of those for the Palom to help get through the hook route.
So Quake is learned, but Porom did go down. So, yep, everything gets turned back off and saving again. So really, the objective was Quake at that point.
Yeah, and also for this is remember this is C hero and Porom's our hero, and for a C hero, if the hero is knocked out for the battle, they still get XP. So it's a good thing for Leonhardt that Porom still was down instead of Palm. So just in case Porom needs some levels, she still gets them.
All right, here we are, 38 minutes in, and Octomom. I think this is kind of a punchy fight. Okay, no,
It's like a
little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit speedy, but once you get take out one of the tentacles down, it becomes more manageable.
The ironic part about it is that Octomom is strong against holy weapons. So we spent all that money on that crystal sword, and it was not doing quite as much damage as the defense sword would have done against Octomom.
Yeah, because of story. Yeah, because of story reasons, Octomom is weak against dark, like the black sword when DKC has it, but resists holy elements like the crystal or Xcal. So it's one of those things of Xcal may be useful most of the time, but probably not right this moment.
So right now, what we can say is, Karma, congratulations, you've rolled another terrible Porom seed. But here's the thing, and chat and the rest of the free enterprise community, hear my plea. I don't think this is Bad Karma's fault in rolling this seed. I think Porom seeds are just naturally really, really bad. You have low power even from the beginning. Yes, you could possibly get things up, but you have so few options in terms of who your party is. I just think it's inevitable that Porom seeds are going to be all entirely bad.
Porom seeds is just basically, hey, you got exit early and don't have to worry about that. But like you said, low power, you're going to be in for going in a slog for a little bit while until you get most of your party online to don't have to worry about the low power level for the whole seed.
I think at this point, the nice thing is we do have a Paladin Cecil who is great at covering. I think at this point in time, you have to commit to Cecil just covering. Immediately put the cover on Palom. We know Porom has a heroine robe, so she can cast Blink then and can probably take a hit. And you just have to commit yourself to keeping your party alive first before hitting anyone. And yeah, we have. I think Ribbon ultimately has more equipment, although it's still wearing a cloth at this point in time, and a bow and arrow on Cecil. Couldn't quite afford that crystal sword, unfortunately, in large part due to just not doing quite as much looting as Leonhardt did.
Yeah, and also I don't believe she found the defense sword selling in one of the shops to use it as a substitute instead of the crystal sword. So it's for Ribbon. It's gonna be a rough time getting through this Octomom, but it's doable. But it's one of those things of, do I fight through attrition through this, or try to go back in the overworld and try to find any more good gear to suit the party to get through this spot.
Leonhardt's through, though, and is rewarded with, by the way, here's a Mom Bomb fight, which will also be nasty. So Leonhardt takes, I think, what I would call a wise decision, and is going over here to safety save.
If this was if this is a full party, you just go ahead first. But after going through multiple times through that Octomom, yeah, I also agree with the play of, let me just go back and save. I don't want to go through this again, and don't go through the whole situation of board AI knocking down the wrong character multiple times.
And we're going to see Leonhardt use the very similar strategy that we just had with Octomom. Blink up Cecil, let him swing and cover, but just know that your characters are going to take a little bit of damage here to start off with.
Yeah, he went straight for the swing instead of manually covering the Porom just in case. So it's not one of those things of can he get through this Mom Bomb fast enough before the exposed stage, or have what just happened, try to attack until Porom comes down and then have Porom lift him up. He would be already in critical HP and be auto-covered by Cecil.
Yep, Cecil can take the hits a little bit easier. Still in the back row, and you'll have to forgive me. I don't know. There's so many different seeds going around. I'm not sure if back row glitch is turned on or not here. But Crystal Sword Cecil is still going to be doing a little bit of damage from the back row. Meanwhile, covering the rest of the party, this is going perfectly fine.
Yeah, one click of the flags, the back row glitch is on, so Cecil's already back row glitch, so he gets full defense, full attack from the back row. So this is now it's just basically blink Cecil and just tackle through this Mom Bomb, and hopefully it goes down sooner rather than later.
Meanwhile, Ribbon took a couple attempts at our mighty cephalopod and said, nope, I need more levels, and opted to go fight this Mad Ogre chest.
Yeah, she doesn't have a hourglass, so she's going through letting the Mad Ogres hit through each round, but it's doable, but it's one of those things of making sure that Porom gets the levels at the end instead of just the Cecil and Porom. And also on Commander's side, at the 46 minutes and 50-second mark, he tried to jump over and fall to the pit, fall down to the underground.
47 minutes, that's a long one. And hey, that's another rude boss for this particular party, Antlion at the top of the tower, which we do have the tower key for. That could be an attractive early spot, although to be honest, we're probably going to check our freebies. And then Dwarf Castle is a very attractive check right now because we're still looking for Atella and our objective Cecil.
Yeah, basically I would have just fly over to Feymarch, get the freebie, check the two bosses there, make sure Demas is not there, and basically look at the shops to see if there's anything interesting. For Commander's side, I don't think there's anything like particular he needs to finish out the seed. But instead, he just basically say, I'm here. I saw an Antlion right over there. Let's just tackle this now.
Bad Karma in chat, of course, in chat, hanging out with us, pointing out that we still have a Yang to find, which would be nice just to have someone else to target other than our twins, which keep getting knocked down. Not a ton of levels are necessarily needed, and we're certainly not going to grind. We have all the levels that we need, and hello, here's our bonus round.
So the dream of Demas at CPU with Kanazo at Elements is no longer, it's been shattered. So this spot is now a 2-for-1.
Bad Karma asks, will they get up again? It depends on how many life potions they have. This is not Chumbawamba. When we get knocked down, we may not get back up again because you can keep us down, especially if their name is Edward.
And looks like Commander is doing the Penguin special instead of going fully up to deal that antline on the top tower, which wouldn't blame him. Found Demas here. This is 2 key item checks, so he's going to think of hopefully Baron Key or a key item that gets a character that isn't up there. So let's see if this pays off for him.
Well, going to immediately turn into, of course, ha ha ha, Golbez laughing at us, destroying the bridge, coming down. We may get to see one of my favorite cutscenes in Free Enterprise, the cutscene of coming up from the underworld in the Enterprise that does not have a drill, so we're not quite sure how we get through it. And actually, that Earth Crystal is super attractive right now.
Yeah, that's 2 character checks right there. Hopefully you can find either the 2 of the 3. Hopefully you find both sets on a toe up there and basically you're down to a Baron Key hunt. But character checks right now with just 3, I'm all for it.
I mean, we still have to do, our easy key item checks, I think, are necessary to do. But at this point, with the Crystal Sword Cecil and the levels that we have, I don't think we necessarily have to worry about doing anything or grinding up anymore to do anything that we may not want to. And by the way, there's the pan, so hey, why not?
Do your objectives, check your objectives, check your freebies. So now Commander had 2 more key items to open up for him for that Baron Key.
I mean, wouldn't it be something if the Demas check just had it, and we're doing all these extra checks just because they're convenient and they're right, and you do your freebies and everything is lying itself out right in a row here, but yet you may not have to do it.
Well, you probably still have to do it. Baron Key can only get one character, and if it's not a Tela, or if it's not a Tela and it gives a Samurai, you're still going through these key item checks to hopefully to open up more key items that opens up character checks. So like the old fashioned, just do your freebies. Hopefully you get the key items to hopefully finish up the seed much faster than needed.
All right, in the meantime, Leonhardt is going to check those freebies and all the objectives right now, turning in Demas. Remember, we're just looking for a Baron Key, and then we need to be able to do our character checks. We're still missing a Cecil and a Tela.
Hey, Fantasia, how do you feel like? What's your opinion about Adamant Crystal Sword Cecil?
Wasted on this flag set. is, I think, the only answer that I can probably say. Fantastic. Best armor in the game. I don't see a whole lot of stuff we have to kill, though, so it's not... I'm not going out of my way to get it right now.
Well, it's useful for that Gomez, so you don't have to worry about one additional character being knocked down.
That's fair. I think that's a fair point. And there's Haga Spoon and the Pan. There's our Baron Key. So here's the question. I mean, I think I'm doing Baron first. When we have these objectives, do the objective because we may get a character check out of it that will help eliminate everything. Plus, we have to do it anyway, right?
Yeah, you do it. Baron Castle's the objective and also a character check. So basically, that will knock out objective number 4. If that character, like we said multiple times, is either the Cecil or the Tella, that's another objective. And if somehow the Sand Ruby is down in the trash can, and Tella was in Baron Castle, that's it. That's all the objectives. We're officially in go mode. So basically, we're now at the point of just basically, hopefully, hunting down characters.
And let's point out that there can be some very, very rude locations. We already know the location of one Cecil, which is located at the Sand Ruby spot. There's still some other rude spots. We haven't done Dwarf Castle yet, which has a character check. Earth Crystal has 2 character checks in addition to Baron Castle, which has another one. However, we could be looking at a bunch of duplicate Palums and Yams, really. I'm personally, because if we want everything to be as rude as possible, I kind of want to see a giant Tella, and that's the only place that you can find Tella.
That's just why? Bad Karma, please, you didn't roll that, please, please.
You never know.
Also, a little quick update on Ribbon's side. She went outside, went back up in the overworld. She looted Watery Pass just to get a little more gear on her Cecil. Looks like Cecil has a lightsaber, which won't help much because lightsaber deals holy damage. But found a glass hat, so basically gives a little more defense for that Cecil to make cover strats a little bit more powerful for her.
Absolutely. And the nice thing right now about this Golbez is we only have 3 characters, so only one person's going to get knocked out. And eventually, whenever we start the comedy show.
Yeah, I just love this. If Golbez is in fighting spot, and if you accidentally left a Avenger on one of your characters, or what Leonhard did, Berserker Porom before he does the script, it's going to take a while until Golbez gets up in front of the queue to start his script. So it's kind of funny to see, but with 2 Star Veils on the other 2 characters and Porom not being paralyzed because of the Heron Robe, this is a doable fight.
That's the first time I think I've seen anything able to swing at Shadow.
There was one race that someone left a Avenger on their character at this spot, and it took like a good minute sitting here and just keep swinging multiple times, and even Shadow comes up, kept swinging. So it's fun to see, but it's one of the, as a runner, it's like, oh great, now I have to wait for the Berserker to take additional turns instead of waiting until after the second, after Shadow goes away.
Meantime, Ribbon is trying to hold out. Yeah, that Octomom is just a really rough go of it right now.
Yeah, and she did one of the things that it's a really good trip up for some newer runners and also runners with this. If you Zerk Cecil, he doesn't auto cover. So if you equip him with the Avenger or Berserk him, he doesn't cover any of your primaries and critical HP. So it's one of those things that you don't auto cover Cecil just because if you want to keep your other power members alive, just either manual swing at the boss, or in case the boss does a counter strip, just go up and just show off your weapon to the boss because, hey boss, because Cecil was one of those characters saying, hey, look at this weapon I have. I'm not going to swing at you, but hey, just look at this weapon.
Meanwhile, we had a coup in Baron. The soldiers took over, and the military has now been deposed. We have a Tella. So we have a Tella and have liberated Baron Castle. We are now on the hunt for just a Cecil at this point in time. Now, if this is a Sand Ruby, we know exactly where we need to go get one. Otherwise, which would you rather do, Earth Crystal or Dwarf Castle?
Either. Now you have to make me think. With this party, I'd rather go with Earth Crystal just for the two chances of a character versus one. But with Dwarf Castle, you just have to get through one boss, the character show up, and you do a second boss. So for me, I'm going for Earth Crystal just for 2 chances at characters versus 1.
Yeah, I also think you may, I might even save scum, where, I check the 2 characters, because you win as soon as you get Cecil. You don't have to fight the boss. So if you get up there and there's no Cecil, reset out. Don't worry about fighting the boss, don't worry about the fanfare. Yes, it's a bit of a risk, but the more important thing is getting to that other character check as quickly as you can.
So basically, just drop a save after the first boss, do the 2 characters. If Cecil's not there, reset back down to Zod and just rush down Dwarf, and hopefully something is down there.
I would have even dropped a save before going to Tower of Zod, honestly. Yeah, to reset out of all of it, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, 1 save outside of Zod, another save after Zod 1, just because before the 2 character checks. And if it's not, Cecil's not there, just reset down there and have that second save just up there, just in case you haven't find either the Sand Ruby or the Darkness Crystal.
And Ribbon gets through that spot, now on to Mom Bomb.
And Chimera's gone through one of the free fights of the game, King and Queen Evelyn at the Mega Sister spot. So after doing that, either he's going to drop a save here or just rush in and just hopefully Cecil's in here.
Now here's a Tella. So are we going to find a Cecil here? Young. Okay, so we're now getting our final character.
So right now, for Chimera, he's hoping that this gives the Sand Ruby, or else I have to go through Baron Castle and hope Cecil's there, or else I have to go through the Odin spot at Dwarf 2, which is not a big issue with this party.
Well, this will be a very, very quick spot. Yeah, we have Giant, Moon, and Dwarf are plus Sand Ruby spot, which we know. So at worst case scenario, we need to find the Sand Ruby. And we still need to find the Darkness Crystal somewhere. Then we have then we have Moon and Giant accessible to us. The thing is, when we start talking about key item locations, we are starting to run out. We do have Top of Tower that is available. We have, we have Luca Cave, which would not be fun.
It is Dwarf, Luca, and Top of Tower left.
Yeah, other than, we still have, Twin Harp, and Rat Tail.
Like the remaining open checks to us. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Rat Tail. Okay.
Okay, now what's going to end? Does the Red Tail produces the Sand Ruby? Or I
don't think we're checking that. We're going, I presume we would be going to Dwarf Castle because that's another character check.
Red Tail will give a key item, and we're basically at a 1 in 5 shots, so 20% shot of this being the Sand Ruby. So let's hope it is. If not, we're down to 125. 125%.
Just a Legend Sword! Whop!
Looking through this, Adamant and Sand River are terminal. All three of them are terminals. Terminals. So basically, at this point, just go to Dwarf Castle, hope Cecil's down there, and if not, hope Sand River's there. If not, you get two longish checks to figure out which one will contain either Sand Ruby or Darkness Crystal.
Meanwhile, on Ribbon's side, really tough check there for Ribbon, all the way to the explosion phase of the Mom Bomb, and could not handle the explosions from the Gray Bombs in the afterwards, which is a really rough call. So back at it, Ribbon going to be doing maybe a little bit more grinding. Not quite sure what Ribbon's decision is here. But not certainly not out. But that's really rough. That can be heartbreaking when you get that close to getting through what is otherwise a very tough fight.
Yeah, get the explosion, and I'm able to recover quickly after that, because if you didn't tackle Mom Bomb before the explosion, it generates these 6 smaller bombs, and if you don't have power already up and cast a quick to deal with them, it's a feels bad moment. And then on Commander's side, he got through the Karate Fat Zot 1, and before facing Odin and Drop 2, who's going to come and save the day?
Oh, hi, Odin. Oh, there's our Cecil. Game over.
Seth's is here to save the day, and I was like, "Oh, I want to fight." Well, with that, Commander has completed all 4 objectives and finished the seed with the official race time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 1 second. GG's for Commander.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Commander. That was, the first Porom seed earlier today was not what we expected. I don't know if this one was something we expected either.
Yeah, I didn't have much in the way of expectations. I didn't have time for the async, but I'd heard stories. So I kind of had D-Mist on my mind, among other things.
So, Commander, let's take it from the start of the seed. You see DKC as your second character, Gobez at Bygan, and Hook as a starting key item. What went through your mind of how to approach this?
Let's character check. Let's go. Also, while I'm there, let's start looting. Oh, a heroine rope. Cool. Where are my bow and arrow? Where is my bow and arrow? Really, about that bow and arrow. And finally found the arty arrows in the shop. Spied the crystal sword while I was checking the Hook character. Like, cool, now I know what I'm saving money for. And really expected T-Standard to give me a bow sooner rather than later. But didn't find one until I finally found a great bow in Antlion. It's like, well, you're not great, but you do fire arty arrows, so fine, let's go. From then, just start knocking out nearby checks. Focusing a little on character checks. Though, once I had wandered into Kaipo to check the weapon shop and seen the Cecil in bed, I was leaning a little harder on the item checks because I knew that Sand Ruby was an out for me.
Nope, that made sense. How nervous were you? Because we're getting down to some of the end of the key item checks. You had skipped top of tower.
Yeah.
That one was going to be a bit of a time investment, I think, because we saw it was Antlion. Was that a conscious decision, or did you ever think, well, maybe I should have done that?
It was on my to-do list towards the end, but I definitely did not want to take it if I could help it. It's not an Antlion party, what I had at the time. Like, that's either taking the counters, and yeah, the magic there ain't much to speak of. But it's still a decent amount of hit points, and I was willing to fade it. I had in my mind when I was going in to just run a Penguinator special, but once I saw D-Mist in there, I was sold. It's like, alright, we're out of here. I guess I'd better check my freebie. Oh, good, it's a pan. We are definitely out of here. I have way too much to do to think about going back up that tower.
Yeah, it did end up there for a while that, you skipped top of tower, but then everything just opened up. You got the pan. You were able to do all those checks. Earth Crystal was there, which, it looked like Earth Crystal ended up being a bit of a distraction because it was just, hey, go do dwarf, but still a smart check because of those 2 character checks there. It looked like Earth Crystal ended up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the percentage play. You got 2 character checks, you got a key item check. So, like you said, complete distraction. Fortunately, not that long of one. But, yeah, ultimately unnecessary. Like, if you want to super route this, then you liberate Baron with a Baron key from the freebie Sheila 2 and go do Dwarf. Because there wasn't much of Dwarf to slow this party down either.
Early game, though, there was quite a bit to slow everyone down. Val at that first spot in a Baron Inn is not necessarily easy. We had some equipment because with a heroine rogue. Of all the rude things to get into the underground, a 1-2 punch of Octomom, which kind of rendered the crystal sword not quite as helpful as you'd like it to be. Plus Mom Bomb.
Story.
Yeah.
The Octomom was definitely rude. I tried the same thing a few times in a row until I said, you know what? Quit beating your head against the wall. Try this a little differently. And I mean, you saw the change up. Get through at the end. Blink it up and cover and just let Palom quake things. This could have been a lot ruder. All that would have been necessary to make this a lot ruder is to swap that Palom on Hobbs with that Tella, and suddenly that's your hook dive. And I'm not enjoying that. It's doable. I'm just not enjoying it.
It's just seeds like these you have to embrace what the seeds give to you, try to tackle down the hook route. So what you did, just attempting it multiple times to get through it, it's one of those things that just build character.
Yeah, as Martin would say, builds character. Hook, Octomom into Mom Bomb. That's a character builder. And yeah, speaking of, thank goodness for the Quack Kid, that Octomom, or that Mom Bomb. Granted, I did eventually see Hourglass ones in Baron Shop, so that would have made the second part free. Fun. I like this club. Like, FPL does a good job with each hero, with each character, looking at their story, writing up a blurb for them, and crafting the objectives and the flags to focus on that character. It's a really good example of how much you can shape things with the flags. It's a lot of fun.
Well, fantastic. Glad you're enjoying it. And while we were promised speed this week, who knows? I mean, next week, I believe we're up to...
I think it's Sid.
Sid, yeah.
Huh. I mean, Sid. So he shows up when you liberate Baron and sticks around till Dwarf Castle, and then briefly shows up, and then shows up for what you think is his finale when you finish off the super cannon room, and then shows up once more shows up a couple more times after that every time you need your airship upgraded. So I will be interested to see how much of that shows up in the flag set and the storyline, and given how many different characters Sid plays with, this could be another one of those only these but restrict a few. Let's see.
Well, I have no additional questions for Commander Vitasia. Do you have any?
No, just GG's to you, Commander. Very well run race, and good luck at the rest of these as the community clubs start kind of wrapping up here before too long.
Yeah, I mean, we know we have at least as much time for the number of heroes we've got left for this club, so we've got kind of a timeline there, but we are getting near the end. A lot of fun, definitely. Vitasia and Warlink, thanks for the comms. I'm looking forward to going back and listening to it. Judge Joe, I hope you had fun lighting up all the buttons. A bit hectic on K-Main. And Bad Karma, thanks for handling the restreams.
Thank you, Commander. GG's to you, and I hope you have a fantastic night.
You as well.
And of course, as Commander did our job for us a little bit, but kudos. Thank you so much to all the folks behind the scenes, Judge Joe for pressing the buttons, and of course, Bad Karma for rolling the seat, and of course, Warlink, my wonderful co-commentator. It's always a pleasure working with you.
Thank you for Tation. Also, thank you to you for co-commenting with me. Through everyone in the Rooster and the runners follow on their page. They're putting up a nice show for tonight to do this.
Absolutely. It does look like Ribbon Quest has declined an interview, did choose to forfeit. I certainly don't blame her. It was absolutely kind of a rough scene. In the meantime, we will be raiding Big Dunka, who is running a ZZ5 async. So already prep for Zeramus Zone 5. Make sure not to spoil this race as we head on over there, but otherwise, have a great rest of your evening, everyone, and we'll see you at the next race.
Next race is tomorrow at 8 for the community race here on Free Enterprise.